Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Shreya Jadhav and today we are going to learn English grade 12 supplementary reading 1, the third level, written by Jack Finney. So let us know something about the author. Jack Finney, born on 2nd October 1911, died 14th November 1995. Walter Braden Jack Finney was an American writer mainly known for his contributions to science fiction genre. His most popular novels are The Boy Snatchers and Time and Again. Throughout his career, he published nearly 50 novels of thriller and comedy genre. The genre is science fiction. We can also say it as sci fi. Setting: the past is a good place to visit, but certainly not a good place to stay. The third level by Jack Finney is an engrossing story set in 1950s. The story is studded with numerous undertones of irony. It takes you back in the time. It was a world when people hadn't seen two of the bloodiest wars in the history of mankind. The story brings to light the fact that figment of someone's imagination can be used for shying away from reality, which, in all fairness, is harsh enough. Characters: the first character is Charlie. He is the main character. He is 31-year-old guy. The second character is of Sam. Sam is Charlie's friend as well as he is psychiatrist also. The third character is of Louisa. Louisa is wife of Charlie and Charlie dearly loves Louisa. So now let us begin the reading and the explanation of the chapter. The presidents of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two. But I say there are three because I have been on the third level of Grand Central Station. So, over here in the beginning of the chapter, the writer, who is Charlie, he is trying to say that usually in the present time there are only two stations in New York, but he tells that he has visited the third station and he has not gone mad. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at the Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. He said I was unhappy. That made my wife kind of mad, but he explained that he meant the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it. And that is just want to escape. But they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central. So, over here, the writer is trying to say that as he has discovered a third level, he was in a bit of confusion that what actually happened. Was it a reality or was it mere an imagination? So, to clear out his doubt from his head, he talked to one of his psychiatrist friend whose name is Sam, and he told that no, what he was thinking was just mere a dream. It was not a reality. It was a thing like waking dream, wish fulfillment, that all was in his head. And he gave this conclusion by saying that he was unhappy. Now, this made his wife Louisa a bit worry and mad, angry with him. That what was the reason that he was no not good or not feeling happy. At that time, the doctor explained him. Sam explained to both of them that in this present time duration, it is not likewise that we only are unhappy with our life partners, but there are plenty of other tensions also going on. In the modern world, we have plenty of tensions, like we have insecurity regarding our job, our life, fear. We have fear about war, about worry, and plenty of tensions goes on in our head. But that's the reason, he said, and all my friends agreed. Everything points to it, they claimed. My collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather didn't need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful in his day. From all I hear, and he started my collection. It's a nice collection too. Blocks of four of partially every US issue, first day covers, and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamps too. So over here, now Charlie is telling that when he consulted other friends, they also agreed to the thing that that couldn't be the reality. And then Sam, the psychiatrist, also told that no, your habit of collecting stamps or collecting old things, that is also a temporary refuge, means to move away from the reality. But then Sam is proven wrong. Yes, Charlie is telling that his grandfather was not facing any sort of problem or trouble in his life. He was living a very pretty and nice and peaceful life. Yes, so he also collected stamps. So that doesn't mean that collecting stamps means I want to move away from the reality. And even so many people in the olden days had a tendency of collecting stamps. For example, President Roosevelt also collected stamps. Anyway, here's what happened at Grand Central. One night last summer, I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment. So I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than bus. So from over here, we are starting the main incidents of what happened. So one summer night, he was late from the office. So rather taking bus, he took the metro and he went to subway. Now, I don't know why this should have happened to me. I'm just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31-year-old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who look just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Louisa, my wife. So over here, Charlie is telling that I am not someone very special. That why all these things happens to me. I'm just merely an ordinary person like other people. I'm 31-year old. He wears usual clothes like other people wear in that time, and moreover to that, I looked also same. Yes, and he wasn't escaping from anything. He was just wishing to get back home to his wife Louisa. I turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down the steps to the first level, where you take trains like the 20th century. Then I walked down another flight to the second level, where the suburbs trains leave from. ducked into an arched doorway heading for the subway, and got lost. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times. But I am always bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once I got into tunnel about a mile long and came out in a lobby of Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Now, what happened? He's trying to share his experience that why he was not preferring more of Central Station. The reason behind it was that when he used to enter, he always used to enter from the same place, like how it has been done in the 20th century. But what was a strange thing which always happened with him, that his exit place from where he came out was always different. He always came out from a new doorway. Once he would come out from some hotel room, or he would be standing in some of the hotel lobby, or he would be standing in an office building. Now he was not eventually knowing that why he was standing over there and what is the reason, because every time when he entered from the same place, the same platform, the same station, but every time his exit was different. So this made him a bit confused that what eventually was happening to him or what he was doing at the present time. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. There's probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square. And maybe because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape. Maybe that's how the tunnel I get into. But I never told my psychiatrist friend about the idea. So now what happened? Charlie is thinking about that Grand Central is a place that is growing no each and every day. Like he is no now fantasizing and imagining things that, for example, this Grand Central would be no everywhere in the New York. So it would be so nice that people could come from anywhere and could exit at any place. Yes, and as he was thinking about all these things, he thought that no, I should not talk about this thing to my friend Sam, who is a psychiatrist, because then eventually he'll be thinking that Sam would be thinking that Charlie had gone mad. So he didn't talk about this sort of no mentality, feelings, what he was thinking. The corridor I was in begin angling left and slanting downwards, and a thought that I was wrong. But I kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I didn't pass a soul. So now what happened? All of a sudden, train stopped at one time duration. He came out from the train and he started walking. Now, as he started walking, he saw that no person was in and around him. He was walking alone, and even his footsteps were being heard. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead that means open space and people talking. The tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment, I thought I was back on the second level. But I saw the room was smaller. There were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking, and the men in the booth wore green eye shades and long black sleeves protectors. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Then I saw why. They were open flame gas lights. Now, what happened? As he was moving towards the staircase, he heard that there was no some moment, some sort of sound he heard. And when he went, there was a short flight of stairs, and he came out on the third level. Yes, in an another level or another world, eventually to be said, and that was the third level at Grand Central. And for a minute, he thought that he was back in a normal pace only to the second level, like usually he get. But then, after a few moments, he realized that the room was a bit smaller, and there was no some sort of ticket windows and train gates were there. There were some information booths over there, and those booths were made up of wood, and they were no old fashioned. And moreover to that, the men sitting over there was also dressed a bit differently, and lights were also dim, they were flickering. But after a certain time, he realized that it was the guest lights. There were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his waist pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch, and frowned. He wore a derby hat, a black four-button suit with tiny laps, and he had a big black handlebar mustache. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, and fancy mustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to top of her high buttoned shoes. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of locomotive, a very small Courier and Eves locomotive with a funnel shaped stack. And then I knew. So now, slowly and gradually, as he was at third level station, he was observing the surrounding. He saw that on the floor there were spittoons, and moreover to that, no, all the people were looking very different. And in olden times, they were not having any sort of wristwatch. So one of the men removed a pocket watch from his pocket, and that watch was, I think so, it was a gold watch. Yes. And he was in a bit of confusion because he hadn't seen so many people with so many hairstyles and sideburns and different types of mustaches. And moreover to that, the women who were dressed up, they were also dressed up very differently. And he saw that there was a locomotive, means an engine train, and he saw that it was a funnel shaped. And then he realized, he came to knew that where he wasn't actually in the present time. He went into the past. He went to that third level. To make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of paper at his feet. It was the world. The world hasn't been published for years. The lead story said something about President Cleveland. I have found that front page since in the public library files, and it was printed June 11, 1894. Now, to reconfirm that he had come back in his past time, what eventually happened? He started walking and he saw that there was a newsboy, and he saw that there was a paper, and that newspaper's name was The World. Now, the world newspaper was published years back from the present time duration. It was before the both world war this newspaper was being published. But when he read the date, it dated June 11, 1894. So now he came to know that exactly where he was in the past. I turned towards the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central I could but tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. in the year 1894, and I wanted two tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. So now what happened? He thought that no, this is such a wonderful opportunity which he wouldn't miss out. So he thought that he would go and purchase two tickets, one for himself and one for his wife Louisa, and no, they could go anywhere. Yes, and they were in the year 1894, and he thought that no, I don't want to go anywhere in the United States. I'll go to one particular place, that is Galesburg, Illinois. What is the reason that he wanted to go over there? Because Charlie's grandfather used to live over there, and moreover to that, Charlie himself had spent his childhood in Galesburg, Illinois, so that place was really very near and dear to him. Have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof the streets. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long, and people set out in their lawns. Then men smoking cigars and talking quietly, the women weaving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around in a peaceful world. To be back there with First World War still 20 years off and the Second World War 40 years in the future. I wanted two tickets for that. So over here Charlie is giving us description about Galesburg, Illinois, that it is still a very beautiful and a wonderful place to visit because it is a countryside, which we can say, with big old frame houses, tremendous trees, branches which are overhead the roof of the street, and moreover to that, the evenings over there were twice as long. People had a very peaceful and enjoyable time over there, not only men as well as women. And the main point was that still it was 20 years to World War One and 40 years to World War Two. So over here we can come to know that he wanted to escape from that tension, from that anxiety, from that worry after both world wars. The clerk figures a fare. He glanced at my fancy headband, but figured the fare, and I had enough for two coach tickets. One way, but when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. He nodded at the bills. That ain't money, mister, he said. And if you're trying to skin me, you won't get very far. He glanced at the cash drawer beside him. Of course, the money was old style bills, half again as big as the money we use nowadays, and different looking. I turned away and got our last. There's nothing nice about jail even in 1894. So now, what happened? He went to the ticket window and he told that he wanted two coach tickets for Galesburg, Illinois, and he started counting the money. The ticket collector was constantly looking at him, and he told that this isn't money, mister, and if you are trying to fool me, it won't be good enough, because then he would be handed to the police and would be in the jail. So then he realized that as he has come in past, he is supposed to have the old currency with him. The present time currency will not be suffice and will not work, and he's thinking that in 1894 also jail was a not nice place to hang out. And that was that. I left the same way I came, I suppose. Next day, during lunch hour, I drew $300 out of bank, nearly all we had, and bought old style currency. That really worried my psychiatrist friend. You have buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, but I didn't care. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. So over here we have come to know that how he entered, but over here the description of how he exited from that place, we are not aware about it. So he is thinking that no, the way he had entered, the way he had come out from that situation. And the next day in the lunch hour, he went to the bank and he drew out $300, and he went to a coin dealer and he changed his money in an old currency. Now we are supposed to pay a premium about it. So he had given $300, but he got less than $200 in the old style bills. Now this no worried little bit to his friend Sam. But the writer, means Charlie, thought that it is not a big thing to think about. Why? Because at that time duration, the eggs were very much cheaper. Means it was not that much that the people were supposed to pay. It was really very affordable for the people to stay in 1894. But I have never again found the corridor that leads to the third level at Grand Central Station, although I have tried often enough. So now, eventually, what happened? Once he went over there, he changed his present currency in an old style currency. But after that, it was not possible for him to go back to that third level. He tried that for so many times. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this and didn't want me to look for the third level anymore. And after a while, I stopped. I went back to my stamps. But now we both were looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the third level is still there. My friend Sam Winner disappeared. Nobody knew where, but I sort suspected because Sam's a city boy, and I used to tell him about Galesburg. I went to school there, and he always said he liked the sound of the place. And that's where he is, all right, in 1894. So now what happened? That Louisa was a bit worried about Charlie, that if he would not be able to find it, then now somehow he tried for plenty of times, but then he gave up and he went back to his normal life. But one day, what happened? All of a sudden, now both Louisa as well as Charlie both are searching for the third level every weekend. Why? Because now they are having a proof that his friend Sam, who was psychiatrist, all of a sudden disappeared, and nobody knew that where he was. But somehow the writer, yes, Charlie, he suspected that as he is a city boy, he always wished to go and live a country life, and he thought that no, he might be in one of those such places. And he had heard all these things through Charlie, because as Charlie has spent most of his childhood in a country place, he always used to talk about his school life, and Sam was also fascinated towards that thing. And yes, he is telling that Sam is presently in the past, which is in the year 1894. Because one night, fussing with my stamp collection, I found. Well, do you know what a first day cover is? When a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale, and the postmark proves the date. The envelope is called a first day cover. There's never they are never open. You just put blank paper in the envelope. Now one night what happened, he was fussing, means he was going through his stamp collection, and he found that there were plenty of first day covers. Now, what are first day covers? When the stamp is being issued in public, the stamp collectors used to buy some of the stamps and they used to mail it to themselves only, because on that stamps on which date it is been issued is being marked or imprinted. So in the first day cover, the envelope is always blank, it has a blank paper, no letters are being written. That night, among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there, but there it was. It was there because someone had mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. That was the address on envelope said. Now, eventually, what happened? That as he was searching for it, it came to means he came to knew that someone had posted one of the mails in on his grandfather's address at his home in Galesburg. Why? Because over there the address was written. And it has been there since July 18, 1894. The postmark showed that, yet I didn't remember it at all. The stamp was 6 cent, dull brown, with a picture of President Garfield. Naturally, when the envelope came to Granddad in the mail, it went right into its collection and stayed there till I took it out and opened it. Now, what happened? There was a date written on it, that was July 18, 1894, and he had went through these first day covers plenty of time, but he hadn't encountered this sort of no mail. Now, it was a stamp, it was just a mere 6 cent, and it was a dull brown, and a picture was also there of President Garfield, and it was a mail sent to his grandfather, but he didn't open, and it came in the hand of Charlie. The paper inside wasn't blank, it read. So over here we have the letter, which is 941 Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois, July 18, 1894. Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. I have been here 2 weeks, and right now, down the street at Daly's, someone is playing a piano, and they all are out on the front porch singing, seeing Nellie home, and I'm invited over for a lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. Okay, so this letter was written, and it was written to Charlie, and over here Sam is writing the letter, and he's telling to Charlie that yes, you were right, and now I believe you, and it's true. And Sam is telling that yes, I have found that third level, and he was staying in the past for past 2 weeks, and it was such a beautiful place, and he was being invited for some lemonade, and he is asking Charlie and Louisa also to keep looking for that third level, because it is really worth it. The note is signed by Sam, so it was written by Sam. At the stamp and coin store I go to, I found out that Sam bought $800 worth old style currency that ought to set him up a nice little hay, feed, and grain business. He always said that's what he really wished he would do, and he certainly can't go back to his old business. Not in Galesburg, Illinois in 1894. His old business. Why? Sam was my psychiatrist. So at the end, what happened? For no that exact consultation that he wasn't passed, Charlie went to the coin dealer and he found out from there that Sam had bought almost $800 worth old currency. And no, Sam always used to tell that if he was not a psychiatrist, then he would no be in this farming business and grain business, and certainly he wouldn't be able to opt for his own profession. Why? Because he was a psychiatrist. Now, back in 1894, none of the people were having any sort of anxiety, depression, worry. They all were living really very peaceful life. So his profession was not useful in the year back in 1894. Okay, so this is all about the chapter, dear students. I hope you all have understood. But still, if you find any doubt or queries, you can please ask. Yes, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.